Let's see. Good morning, folks. Good afternoon. Let's see. I'm going to let him go and raise him dead later. Many wondered why Dominique sometimes failed. Sometimes White Lady Dominique sometimes failed to heal people, but sometimes could fail to heal people. When it was known that she could raise the dead and heal any mortal wound. Even her cultists failed to come up when asked. Dominique did not provide an explanation, and her own cultists failed to find a compelling reason why she didn't heal all the sick and wounded she ran into. All the sick, wounded, and dead she came upon in her many years of activity on the world stage. Gulka imagined there was some. Gulka himself wondered, but didn't ask. He felt lucky to be revived as he was, in that robotic shell. He heard religious people talk a lot about God's plan. And when faced with difficult questions, such as, why did this person die so young? Why did this bloody war start? Why is there disease and starvation in the world? Is it all some test from God to see if mankind is worthy of his love? Gilka, not being religious, just since his mother died, at least not since his mother died when he was young, very young, did not spend much time on such questions. I don't know. Do I need at least? No, probably not. Since his mother died when he was very young. Yep, a lot of people lose their faith when they face terrible things, but some people can hold on, you know. Like all things, it varies. Some people have faith so strong that they could lose everything and they would still believe. In other people, they could face a slight bit of hardship and, whoop, boom, they're an atheist on the spot. When he thought of the things, of the strange things that Dami did, her apparent detachment and thoughtlessness toward her fellow humans, if you considered her that, or a human. Yes, I'd consider her that, because from her point of view, it's interesting to me, and, you know, I like human points of view, so, well, you know, I used to really like monster characters, but as time has gone on, I've kind of started to see them as boring, non-human characters as boring and hard to write from that perspective. I hope to correct that someday soon, but yeah, I never find Dami's point of view boring, so I must not consider her something that's not human, you know? Generally with monsters, it's best to have as much human in them as possible. Like, that's why the Greek gods are interesting, because they were all very human, and they had their pettiness and vindictiveness and all that, those traits. They're not like a flawless, perfect god, like in the god of the Christians, the Jews, Islam. Let's see. I mean, what's more boring in the world than a perfect person, right? People need to believe. I think people need to believe that God is perfect, though. Because, I don't know. Do you need to believe in a higher power? You need to believe in something bigger than yourself? Something that could fix your problems, I guess. Let's see, apparently I thought this towards our fellow humans. We considered her a human. He thought of God's plan. Or rather, Dami's plan. Like, she had this great plan, and that plan required Gokha to be resurrected as this robot-like being instead of his old former self. Instead of his former human self. Perhaps all those people that Dami ran into. The blinded, the lepers, the cripples. I think cripples is politically incorrect, but I'm not sure. I'm not certain. Maybe my publisher could change it to something more, I don't know, less politically incorrect down the line. I don't know. The blinded, the lepers, the cripples. Blind, the cripples. They needed to be that way for some reason, for the plan to work. Gokha imagined that Dami saw the world very different than most people. Like her brain was some computer, like the one that allowed him to control his robotic body with his brain. That's some computer. Advanced computer. Now, I've written from her point of view. She's not that strange. Well, she is strange, but she's not like an alien, I guess, most of the time. I think her alienness varies, especially when other characters are looking at her. Less so from her point of view. So, I mean, usually a person who's creepy and weird, they don't see themselves or realize that they're creepy or weird. They just think that, you know, they got like a skewed point of view of themselves. When I'm in public, people look at me like I'm eating a baby in my hands or something. What are you looking at me for? I'm just a normal person. And probably because my hair is a little messy or something, I don't know. Let's see. Gokha, when he woke up in that robotic body, he was quite distraught. He had lost his humanity and most of his senses. He couldn't, he felt physically numb all over. And it was difficult to learn how to move without a sense of touch. A sense of touch. At times he almost saw himself floating through some vast darkness. like space, or a deep body of water, or a deep ocean. Golka met with Dami soon after he woke up. First met with his father, who looked like he was uncertain if he had done a good thing, reviving his son as the world's first Iron Flesh. Iron Flesh should be one word. It's a replacement for the word cyborg in my universe. I think I had cyborgs existing. I think I implied that cyborgs in this universe had existed as early as the Civil War. I have like a little reference to Wild Wild West. It's a great series if you want to watch it. It's an old show from the 60s. I heard that, I heard years ago they were going to reboot it on like the same network as CSI debuted on, but for some reason that never happened. And I don't know. Maybe it's for the best because remakes are kind of hit and miss. And if every remake was as good as the Fly remake from the 80s, then yeah, I'd say sure, remake everything, every damn thing. But not really the case. And now, you know, these remakes are just like cash-ins, trying to get in on nostalgia and bank on a proven property. You know, it's Hollywood's so scared of innovation and all that, they just want to remake the same thing over and over again. I'm not sure if I could help Hollywood, but you know, I would give them some original stuff that maybe it would be successful. You know, it shouldn't be rocket science. Beautiful gun. Look at James Bond. Look at the most successful properties, and you'll see the traits that men would like. You know, fast cars, shootouts, sexy women, that kind of exact locales. That stuff has been attractive to men folks since the dawn of history, I guess. Men are always wondering what's over the next hill or what's the next mountain, you know? But I'm rambling a bit here. Let's see. Golka's first conversation with his father after his resurrection was almost painfully mundane. We revived you, Golka's father had said, using advanced technology. Using our most advanced technology combined with the ancient technology of 25,000 years ago from the old world. Well, that's great news. Oh, looks like I'm not going to be a surgeon again, Golka replied, looking at over his new hands. They were more functional than his old ones had been before he was blown up. They were a bit, but as advanced and agile as they were still not fit for surgery. Not even the most basic sort. I'm afraid your old life is over, son. Because father replied, you'll have to find something else to do with your life. Apparently so, Golka said. Are you in pain? Any pain? Golka's father asked. No, Golka replied. shaking his head. I feel quite numb all over. I suppose that's because my body is gone. Yes. Father. Noted. All that is left is your brain. What about my eyes? Goka asked, as he was seeing the world differently. Like, thanks to the artificial nature of his eyes. Everything seemed foggier and glacier. Glacier and less clear. Goka hoped for some kind of improvement. Eventually, he had perfect vision in his old body. Never failed a checkup, an eye exam. Never needed glasses. His father needed glasses in the present, but let's see. Did I imply his parents were alive? No, I mean the mother. I mean, might have implied his parents were both alive in the present at some point, and then I just casually mentioned the mother's dead. So, that would be a little weird. Keeping track of continuity is a difficult thing in writing. That's why sometimes it's easier to do it all in first person and not have different points of view. But lately I've been trying to challenge myself, so, you know, I'll screw myself over, give myself the finger to help improve my craft, I guess you'd call it. Swimming glass in the present, but he was in his 50s. So. But he was in his 50s and didn't need glasses for the first 55 or so decades of his life. Your original eyes are gone. Goka's father replied, "You're seeing through artificial eyes." "I see," Goka muttered. And chuckled on the inside about his little unintentional. Let's see, now that's muttered. This is a lot to take in. So, if you want, I can leave you to. I can leave you to consider things, Goka's father said. It was just Goka and his father in that room where Goka had woken up. It was some operating room with a big bed. It was more like some operating room than a hospital room. And Goka had woken up sitting on a bed. Had woken up lying on a bed. Big bed to the rear. Someone was observing him somehow before his father came in. And soon after he sat up. Goka was surprised nobody else did. Came in. Surely there were a bunch of scientists involved under his father who were eager to ask questions of him. Goka. That's a sign that I'd rather either ask questions of there. Iron flesh. Iron flesh. They made. I'm fine, Father, Golga said. Just let me take stock of things on my own. And please do not watch me. I need to be alone for a bit. Let's see, is this? Golga imagined that the tech of 25,000 years ago was the more advanced and reliable of the tech present in him. The tech of the present was... The tech of the distant past was like magic compared to the present. Golga had sometimes dreamed of being a surgeon back in those times. Did they even need surgeons? Human surgeons back then? Perhaps it was all done by robots. Perhaps humans had been revamped genetically, so there was no such thing as disease or the body wearing down, or injuries. There was no such thing as disease or the body wearing down or injuries. None of the things, the problems that plagued the beautiful but flawed human body of the present. Let's see. Well, after Golga's father left, Golga had a bit of a fit. He ran around the room, pounded his fist against some tile wall high enough to chip at it, screamed both inside and out, inside his head, outside it. None of this activity provoked a response from anyone beyond the room. Eventually, Golga settled down and sat himself on the floor. Tried to convince himself that was all some dream, that he was going to wake up and would be his old life again. It didn't happen. Eventually, Dominique Vert came in and spoke to Golga. Her walking in seemed almost... When she walked in, her walk and stance was almost confrontational. Like she had come to battle Golga. Golga stood when she appeared and walked close to her. Even without his sense of touch, Golga could somehow sense the power coming off her. Or maybe that was psychological. Anyone could look at Dami with her glowing eyes and dark attire and be intimidated. You are Lady Dominique, a friend of my father's, Golga said, as though that was all she was known for. I'm looking forward to introducing some of Dummy's family, but you know, it's not really for this part of the storyline. You know, it's like we've only seen these characters. I've only shown these characters in like crises. I gotta show it some more times where they're like, you know, times of peace and whatnot. You know. Because then when there's no danger, I can show more of their goofy, happy traits instead of the, you know, no-nonsense stuff. Let's see. This is all she was known for. Yes. It seems the experiment was successful. Dummy replied in English with her Sellian accent clear. Sellian accent is the French accent. I always imagine her with a cute, very cute sort of French accent. But sometimes, you know, I imagine her with a more serious accent. You know, more serious sounding at least. Yeah. Let's see, in one story I think I implied she had an almost like Inspector Clouseau kind of accent. Like, both in the, for a woman, I guess. You know. Looks like Brigitte Bardot talks like Inspector Clouseau, at least when she speaks in English. Maybe, it's a different story if when she speaks in her native tongue. She probably sounds more elegant, you know. Wonder why a lot of shows don't bother with the accent these days. It's like you have German characters, they just talk English, like, with their native accents. And they only sound German if they happen to be played by a German actor. And a lot of German actors, when they speak English, for some reason they sound almost English. Or American, which is also very strange to me, but you know, I don't... Maybe it's because they learn to speak from an English person or an American, possibly. I don't know. Oh, look at the time. 27, 30 seconds in. Yep. It's about as long. I mean, you know, they say YouTube, you try to keep it under 10 minutes, but 10 minutes, that's like... Is it even worth the effort to assemble a video like this and for 10 minutes? Go through all this, you know, settings and whatnot. But anyway, folks, see you later. Have a nice day.